morning, ladies. How are you all today?
Good.
We're
Good,
very
thanks.
well.
Okay, so on the screen we have Elizabeth Ellen Carter. Wave, please, Elizabeth. We have Chloe Wren.
Hi.
We've got Susie Love. And you've got me, Imogene Nix. So, what we're doing today is we're going to have a chat about different things that are issues in the romance industry. So, we're going to start with Elizabeth's topic. Elizabeth, would you like to take the floor?
Thank you very much. Romance, and this has been an ongoing issue, that it seems that romance doesn't get the respect it deserves in literature. But I have a particular theory that everybody loves romance, they just don't know it. So when I'm explaining to a non-romance reader what romance is about, my go-to is, you want to talk about romance? The film Die Hard is a romance. The series with Liam Neeson, where he's rescuing his daughters from the bad guy, that's a romance. Romance is more than just a love story. Romance is in a way the essence of life. It's the quest, it's the journey, it's the adventure, and who doesn't love that?
And I mean, the other thing too is I find in a lot of, a lot of action and adventure books or the naval stuff that I read, inherently there's still usually, those little bits of romance through it because the books are fairly stale without it. Susie? Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
I was
I
about to say I saw El Dorado on film, the classic John Wayne film. There are two romance threads woven through that.
Yep. Oh, we've just lost Chloe.
I always say that when we go to things where there's all the crime writers and thing, the sort of the fantasy and the crime writers and the everything else, and we all say the same thing. Somewhere in the stories, there's usually a hero and a heroine, or someone who has some sort of romance.
Or it's a backstory.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, and often the characters are in there having their romance, but a lot of writers who write other genres don't consider that the main thing. So romance is in just about everything, even if it isn't labelled that.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, Agatha Christie's, a lot of her murder mysteries has a romance subplot between two of the
Yep,
supporting characters.
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly always, don't they? The Miss Marple ones nearly always have a happy couple at the end.
Yes,
And see,
yes.
like, I mean, I read the Alexander Kent, the Richard Bolitho stories, which I really love. And I mean, there is the underlying theme that, all the way through, it doesn't go right, but he does actually have affairs with women throughout it. And he feels quite deeply about these women. And you find it in a lot of those books. They're not the central theme, but they still run through the storyline.
Yes, yeah, absolutely correct.
Hmm. Chloe,
But it's
you got anything to add?
yes, I'm back now. Sorry, but I don't know where I went there for a minute. It's hard to get the suspense kind of things that can happen in a personal relationship any other way. The things like the trauma and the build up of all of that kind of stuff that you can get with a romantic relationship. It's hard to get those elements from anywhere else. So I think, yeah, most books do have some kind of romantic element in them for that reason, because you need that human element to make the story more real.
Absolutely, we're meant to love and to be loved, and that's why I say it drills down to one of the elemental needs we have as human beings, beyond food, shelter, and clothing and warmth. The number one on the interpersonal list is love.
Hmm. I would
Yeah,
agree.
and as Chloe said, if you put some romance into any story, it gives that extra tension and drama,
Yep,
which makes it much more interesting reading.
does indeed.
Potential word up before.
But it does, because it raises the stakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you
It
feel connected to the characters because like they're really trying so hard to achieve something because they've got an emotional involvement.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it humanises it.
Yep, it does. Okay, Chloe, your wonderful
Okay.
question for the day.
So I guess a little less about the end product and more about the actual process. It's time. How much time do you spend on writing versus marketing versus getting distracted by all the pretty shiny things on social media?
But the shiny things can be fun.
This is a current issue I have. I am now a full-time writer, and I'm basically a full-time time waster on Facebook. I get to the end of the day and I'm like, I haven't gotten much written at all if you don't take into account the words I've written on social media. So I think that's a massive problem for a lot of authors, is that it's time management. You need to get the next book written, but at the same time, you need to let your readers know about the book that's just come out. So I get really caught. I don't know where I should be spending my time. Should I be spending my time telling everybody about the book that I finished, or should I be spending my time finishing the next one?
Definitely no easy answer to that, and unfortunately, I think if there is an answer, it's got to be both. And again, it does come down to time management, because both are necessary. One is creating your product, the other one is bringing your product to market. So there's no either or. A lot of I'm with you, Chloe. I can get distracted on social media too. My only suggestion, and I'm telling myself this as much as anyone, is really scheduling your day. You've got the advantage of being a full-time writer. Plan out a day. It's sort of right. Social media time is between these hours, with these topics to be covered in social media. These hours are purely for writing and research. Easier said than done, I know.
Oh yeah, no, it's great to read. I know I listened to an interview with J.R. Ward the other day, and she was saying that when she's writing a book, she doesn't even check her email. Like, the outside world doesn't exist. She writes 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. There's no holidays, no days off. She writes, and that's what she tells new authors. She's like, don't worry about marketing, just write, just get the books out there. Like, I will on a side note, J.R. Ward doesn't actually have any children.
But the other thing too is she has an established readership, which you know, and it's about learning that balance between I'm an established author, I've got an established readership, versus I'm a new author and I don't really have a really established readership. And so I think probably as you become more established, it becomes less of an issue, versus when you're first starting out, it is quite an important aspect of the craft. So,
For sure.
Yeah.
And I can't ignore my email or my social media. I
can't either. But I mean, talking about shinies, I'm going to shop. Look, shinies! Sorry.
Great, those badges look awesome.
I'm so stoked. And everybody's got to come along to Adelaide to get a badge, because if you're not there, you don't get one. So come find me.
Adelaide's my hometown.
Sorry?
And Adelaide's my hometown. Well, home city. I don't live in it, but...
Susie, what do you want to add to this discussion?
Yes, I know the social media thing is always difficult, but I'm like you, Chloe. Until I've checked all my emails and answered them in the mornings, there's no point trying to write, because my mind's somewhere else. So I have to always do all that stuff first. And then I kind of think, okay, I've done that. Now I'll move on, because otherwise you just spend the whole time thinking, oh, I wonder if there's anything there I should be really reading. But I'm a bit luckier that I use Pinterest a lot, and it kind of does a better thing for me than Facebook, because while I'm loading all those images up and researching them and whatever, I kind of am learning my story, and I find then when I go to write, all that's already in my head. But I also pick up a lot of people who hadn't known my name and then find me. So that's a bit easier. But I think you've got to find your niche, whatever you like, and do it for a certain amount of time that day, and then say, right, that's it. I've done that. I'm on. Moving on to something else.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I do have a really good timer that what's it called? I don't even know how to say it. Anyway, it's an app, and it's Krista Masters put me onto it, and it's a timer, and it times for 25 minutes. It times for a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
And that works really well because you just sprint for 25 minutes, and then you get a 5-minute break, and then you can get back to it. And you can turn it on so it ticks. So if while you're doing your 25 minutes you nip over to Facebook, you can hear the ticking in the background.
When we're done, can you send me that link and I'll pop it up on the page?
I shall do.
That would be great. Thank you.